Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the AM Report for HAPS News, the network of now. I'm Alex Mahajer. It is Christmas Eve. It's Thursday, December 24th, and this morning, Merry Christmas, Trump is on a pardoning spree, pardoning all of his crooked pals. We've got 26 new pardons that have come out of Trump of some of the more detestable allies of the president. We're going to be covering that. We're going to be talking about the coronavirus relief package, how it is stalled in Congress, Trump's veto of this defense bill, and all of today's top headlines this morning on the AM Report. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the program. I'm Alex Mahajer, and this morning, Merry Christmas Eve to you all. Thank you for joining. If you're watching on the HAPS app, website, or platform, click the award button. Let us know you're enjoying it. Or if you're watching on Facebook, Reddit, Twitter, YouTube, Periscope, leave a comment and bat around with us. We'll read them live on air. Good morning, Mark Goldman from Los Angeles. Thanks for joining this morning, and thank you, Mark, for the Happy Holidays Award. If you leave an award, it pops up right here on screen, and you can see. Good morning to Luis. Thanks for joining, Luis. Good to see you. Good morning, Andrew Zaki from Los Angeles. Good to see you all this morning, and thank you for joining the program. So this morning, a lot of news to cover, and it's a Christmas to remember. First and foremost, Happy New Year early. Pfizer has announced an agreement to supply another additional 100 million COVID-19 vaccine doses. So they've partnered with biotech to supply an additional 100 million doses. This will bring their total amount of doses to 200 million, and they are scheduled to deliver these doses to the Operation Warp Speed, whose name I still can't fully take seriously, but it is the federal agency that Trump develops to try to deliver this vaccine at an accelerated pace. We are going to expect those full 200 million doses to be delivered to that agency by July 31st. Whether or not we will get them out to the states in time to have everyone vaccinated by the end of the year next year, still not clear, although right now there is a delay in vaccinations because the unloading of this operationally is quite a task. So the National Defense Authorization Act has been vetoed. This is a defense bill that has been authorized for 60 years straight. Trump has vetoed it, and he's taken some issues with this defense bill. So this isn't the same thing as the spending bill that included the coronavirus relief aid. This is the defense spending bill, two different spending bills that the Congress passed. It would pass with a veto-proof majority in the House and the Senate. So now Congress has to come back to override Trump's veto. And Pelosi has already said she'll override it, and she has the numbers to do it. But it puts Republicans in sort of a tough spot because now they have to put on display their lack of loyalty to the president. And as we know, the Republican Party is extremely afraid of speaking out against the president. For what reasons, we're not entirely sure. But Trump is objecting to two provisions in the defense bill. One is a provision that renames military installations that have honored figures from the Confederacy, which was spearheaded by Elizabeth Warren. The other is that he wanted a last-minute provision added that would end legal protections for social media companies. But they bipartisan group of legislators moved forward with this bill as is and didn't include that end to those legal protections. And Trump is mad about it. He threatened that he would veto this bill, and now he has. And he warned that lawmakers. What he wanted to do was for lawmakers to undo Section 230 of what's known as the 1996 Communications Decency Act because of his longstanding feud with Twitter. That's really what this is about. He's had a feud with Twitter. He doesn't like it. He wants them to end protections for Twitter. They didn't do it in the defense spending bill, and so he's vetoed it. And it's just putting Republicans in more of a tough spot. But that's really the smaller news. Not while Trump has not formally vetoed the spending bill that includes the coronavirus relief package, bah humbug. House Republicans this morning have blocked $2,000 stimulus checks to all Americans. So House Democrats tried this morning to approve by unanimous consent a $2,000 stimulus payment after President Trump demanded it on Tuesday night, and he broke with many of his own fellow GOP on this issue, and Republicans in the House blocked it. And so it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen right now. And so to give you a little background, here's what Trump said about this on Tuesday night. Now, to give you some background, actually, House Republicans and the Senate and the House Democrats and Senate Republicans really were in negotiations with Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin for months over this stimulus bill and couldn't find an agreement. Finally, Democrats have always wanted more than $600, but Republicans didn't want it. Okay, so finally, after no input from the president, who was aware that these negotiations were ongoing, who did not chime in, who did not make himself represented in these negotiations, that we finally got an agreement on a Monday night from the Congress on this. And then Tuesday night, Trump releases this video on Twitter, and it actually surprised many of his own in his own party. Here's Donald Trump Tuesday night.
The $900 billion package provides hardworking taxpayers with only $600 each in relief payments. I am asking Congress to amend this bill and increase the ridiculously low $600 to $2,000 or $4,000 for a couple.
The thing is, though, that Trump knew these negotiations were happening. He knew that the number was 600. He knew that lawmakers left Washington, D.C. for their holiday breaks and then decided to chime in and say, I want $2,000. And it's because he actually wants nothing for you. He wanted to create an obstructionist point, knowing that it would make the bill fail and that you would get nothing. That's what he actually wanted. But it puts Republicans in a tough spot because this falls on Republicans' shoulders. Nancy Pelosi tweeted almost immediately after he released that video that she was down. She was like, let's do it. And congressional Democrats all chiming in, 2,000 for all Americans. Let's get on this. Let's do this today. And Republicans have blocked it. And here's Nancy Pelosi's tweet from just this morning after we learned news that the Republicans would block it. This Christmas Eve morning, House Republicans cruelly deprived the American people of the $2,000 checks Trump agreed to support. On Monday, the House will hold a vote on our standalone bill to increase economic payments to $2,000. So now this has to go to an up or down vote because they couldn't do it by unanimous consent. And to be clear, this is where we're at with this. Unemployment that this bill includes is a spending bill. So it includes not just $900 billion of coronavirus relief. It also includes it's a part of a $2.3 trillion spending package that funds the government. So unemployment expires on Saturday. Government funding expires on Monday. House Republicans have blocked this $2,000 check. The Senate Republican leadership says that $2,000 checks they can't get 60 votes in the Senate to pass it. So they won't even bring it up. And there's no plan to keep the government open. So that's where we're at right now. Not only are people not going to get their relief checks, but now we're facing a government shutdown because Trump hasn't vetoed it. He's just not going to sign it. And by all accounts, my estimation is he kind of just wants it to sit there and do nothing with it until he leaves office. So all in all, bah humbug. And how is Trump celebrating all of this chaos and turmoil? Well, he took a little golfing trip this morning, Donald Trump, and yesterday rather, made his 31st golf trip to his Palm Beach resort Mar-a-Lago, raising the taxpayer-funded travel and security for these trips to $151.5 million, according to HuffPost analysis. So Trump has played golf on his properties 289 times since taking office, all while Americans get nothing in coronavirus relief because of his purely his pure theatrics ploy, his political theatrics. Didn't want you to get your $600 checks, and it's not just that. Trump is lawless to the end. Yesterday we learned that we're going to get a whole slate of pardons by this guy that are corrupt, that favor his cronies and corrupt friends. Trump the White House announcing yesterday 26 new pardons, including close Trump allies like Roger Stone, Paul Manafort, and Charles Kushner, who is Jared Kushner's dad. So to be very clear with you, the White House has released a statement on this, on these, each of these clemencies has received a statement from the president. And what he's really saying is he's saying that for Paul Manafort and Roger Stone, these were two guys that were convicted as a part of Robert Mueller's special counsel investigation into the 2016 Russian interference with the 2016 election. And he's saying that there was prosecutorial overreach and misconduct by Mueller, even though these guys were convicted by a jury of their own peers. You know, they're brazen criminals who were convicted by their own peers. But let's look into just who he is, who these guys are. Roger Stone is a longtime Republican political operative. And he was sentenced in February to 40 months in prison for multiple felonies, including witness tampering, lying to Congress, obstructing the House investigation into possible collusion between the Trump campaign and Russia in 2016. He received a pardon. Just a really, I've met Roger Stone. We appeared at Politicon, the conference in 2017 together, and he was just as eerie and creepy in real life as he appears to be in the media. Paul Manafort, who's Trump's former campaign manager, was convicted of 8 charges in August 2018, including tax and bank fraud. He pled guilty to 2 counts, one of them conspiracy against the United States and another conspiracy to obstruct justice. He was sentenced to a total of 7.5 years. He pled guilty to these crimes that Donald Trump is saying was prosecutorial overreach. And then there's, of course, Jared Kushner's dad. Ivanka Trump is fortunate enough to have a creepy father and a creepy father-in-law, Charles Kushner. He was imprisoned in 2005 for tax evasion, making illegal campaign donations, and tampering with a witness, his brother-in-law. So let me be very clear. He pled guilty. Kushner pled guilty in 2004 to 18 counts of tax evasion, witness tampering, and making illegal campaign donations. And he confessed to retaliating against his brother-in-law, who was cooperating with federal authorities at the time, by hiring a prostitute to seduce his brother-in-law, filming the encounter, and then sending it to his sister, who was the brother-in-law's wife. That's Charles Kushner, who Trump decided was worthy of a presidential pardon. And these pardons are causing a lot of blowback. Here's Andrew Weissman, who was one of the lawyers who worked in Robert Mueller's investigation into the 2016 interference with the 2016 election. The Russian interference with the 2016 election. He writes, the pardons from this president are what you would expect to get if you gave the pardon power to a mob boss. Andrew Weissman said it best. What do you guys think of all these pardons? And what do you guys think of this coronavirus relief aid? If it is treasonous, can someone undo the pardon? Asks struggling goddess. No, the pardon power of the president is absolute for federal crimes only, though. That's important to note, that this is just for federal crimes. And these individuals, including the president, can still, should he try to find a way to pardon himself, although he can't, can still be liable for state charges on the state level for state crimes, and they will not absolve them of state crimes. So Trump supporters, sounds like family problems more than a crime. It's the Trump, it's a mob operation, really. So let's see. It's a lot of people. You're welcome. So thank you guys for joining this morning. The AM Report for HAPS News, the network of Now. We are live every weekday morning at 7:30 a.m. Pacific, 10:30 Eastern, with all of your quick political news and headlines to get your day started right. If you like this journalism, if you like this content, please consider sponsoring it. Visit me at haps.tv/@Alex, and you can subscribe there, and you'll get notifications every morning, or you can sponsor the program, buy me a cup of coffee, or make a recurring monthly donation to the program so we can keep bringing you this independent, progressive journalism. Thank you all so much for joining, and we will see you all tomorrow morning on the AM Report. Merry Christmas Eve.